I think that if you're asking somebody to make out with Harvey Weinstein, you've got to give them a raise. That was Courtney Love in 2005, on a red carpet, caught on camera, and nobody listened. For decades, celebrities tried to warn us. They dropped hints, made jokes that weren't really jokes, and spoke in code that we all ignored, until we couldn't anymore. Today, we're breaking down every warning sign Hollywood gave us, the predictions that seemed crazy, the jokes that made people uncomfortable, and the celebrities who risked everything to tell the truth when nobody wanted to hear it. Because here's the thing, they knew, for years, they knew. And what they tried to tell us changes everything about how we see Hollywood today. Let's start with what might be the most chilling example. In 2005, at a Comedy Central roast, Courtney Love was asked for advice for young actresses trying to make it in Hollywood. Her response? That comment about Harvey Weinstein. The room went silent. People laughed nervously, and her publicist immediately tried to do damage control. But here's what makes this absolutely wild. Courtney Love wasn't making a joke. She was issuing a warning, and the entertainment industry blacklisted her for it. She was uninvited from events, roles dried up, and for years, people dismissed her as unstable or problematic. Fast forward to 2017. The Weinstein scandal breaks, dozens of women come forward, and suddenly, everyone remembers that red carpet moment Courtney Love had tried to tell us 12 years earlier, but she wasn't alone. In 2012, Seth MacFarlane was announcing the Oscar nominees for Best Supporting Actress. After reading the names, he added, "Congratulations, you 5 ladies no longer have to pretend to be attracted to Harvey Weinstein." The audience laughed. It aired on live television. And then, nothing happened. No investigation, no questions. Just another edgy joke from a comedy writer. MacFarlane later said he made that a joke because a friend of his had confided in him about Weinstein's behavior. He thought bringing it up publicly might start a conversation. Instead, it was just treated as Hollywood roast humor. This is the pattern. Celebrities would try to speak up, disguise it as comedy, drop hints in interviews, and the public would treat it as entertainment rather than testimony. Then there were the celebrities who didn't hide behind jokes. They spoke directly, and they paid an even higher price. Corey Feldman has been talking about abuse in Hollywood since the 1990s. In interviews, he described a network of powerful men who targeted young actors. He named it as an open secret in the industry. He said it was the #1 problem in Hollywood. And what happened? He was mocked. Talk show hosts laughed at him. Internet commenters called him a washed-up child star looking for attention. Major news outlets ignored him. In a 2016 interview, Feldman said, "I would love to name names. I'd love to be the first to do it. But unfortunately, California, conveniently enough, has a statute of limitations that prevents that from happening." He tried to work within the system. He went to police, he gave testimony, and still nothing changed. Until years later, when public opinion finally shifted. Elijah Wood gave an interview in 2016 where he talked about organized abuse in Hollywood, involving a lot of vipers. He said there were parties where young actors were preyed upon by powerful industry figures. He clarified he wasn't a victim himself, but he'd witnessed the system. The backlash was immediate. His publicist issued a statement walking back his comments. The industry pressured him to stay quiet, and the story disappeared from the news cycle within days. Rose McGowan spent years speaking out about her own experiences and the culture of silence in Hollywood. She tweeted, she gave speeches, she wrote op-eds, and the industry worked overtime to discredit her. There's a documented case where Harvey Weinstein's team hired private investigators to dig up dirt on McGowan and other accusers. They tracked her movements, they tried to silence her with NDAs and legal threats, they spread rumors about her mental health. This wasn't one bad apple. This was a system designed to protect predators and silence victims. So here's the question everyone's asking. Why didn't we listen? The answer is complicated, but it comes down to 3 things: power, money, and complicity. First, power. The people being accused weren't just wealthy, they were gatekeepers. Harvey Weinstein could make or break careers with a single phone call. He produced Oscar-winning films. He had relationships with major studio heads, politicians, and media executives. When someone has that much power, speaking out against them isn't just risky, it's career suicide. And everyone knew it. Multiple actresses have since come forward saying they were advised by their agents, managers, and lawyers not to speak publicly about their experiences. They were told it would damage their reputation, make them seem difficult to work with, and close doors permanently. Second, money. The entertainment industry generates billions of dollars. Powerful men like Weinstein brought in massive revenue. Studios, production companies, and networks had a financial incentive to look the other way. There are reports that Weinstein's company paid out settlements to multiple women over the years. These settlements came with non-disclosure agreements. The company knew. They paid to keep it quiet, and they kept working with him because his movies made money. Third, complicity. This is the uncomfortable part. A lot of people knew and said nothing. Agents who sent young actresses to hotel room meetings, assistants who scheduled those meetings, publicists who managed the fallout, journalists who heard rumors but didn't investigate because they wanted access to stars for future stories. It wasn't just a few bad individuals. It was an entire ecosystem designed to protect the powerful and silence the vulnerable. And when brave people like Courtney Love, Corey Feldman, and Rose McGowan tried to break that silence, the system turned on them. They were labeled as crazy, bitter, attention-seeking, or vindictive. The message was clear: speak up and we'll destroy you. So what finally changed? In October 2017, the New York Times and the New Yorker published investigations into Harvey Weinstein. Dozens of women went on the record. The evidence was undeniable, and suddenly, all those jokes and hints from years earlier made perfect sense. The hashtag #MeToo movement exploded. Women across industries started sharing their stories, and the public finally started listening. Since then, we've seen real consequences. Weinstein was convicted and sentenced to prison. Kevin Spacey faced charges. Bill Cosby was convicted. R. Kelly was convicted. Multiple powerful men lost their careers, their reputations, and in some cases, their freedom. But here's what we need to remember. None of this is new information. The warnings were there all along. The difference is that now we're finally paying attention. Courtney Love tried to tell us in 2005. Corey Feldman tried to tell us in the 1990s. Rose McGowan spent years trying to tell us. And countless others dropped hints, made uncomfortable jokes, and spoke in code because they knew direct accusations would be met with lawsuits and career destruction. The real question isn't, how did this happen? The question is, what other warnings are we ignoring right now? Hollywood has always had an open secret problem. Things that everyone knows but nobody talks about. And when someone does talk about it, they're silenced, discredited, or dismissed. The celebrities we talked about today were brave enough to speak up when it cost them everything. They deserve credit for trying to warn us even when we weren't ready to listen. So here's my question for you. What other jokes are we laughing at today that future generations will look back on as warnings? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this video opened your eyes to something you hadn't considered before, hit that like button and subscribe. We're diving deep into the stories Hollywood doesn't want you to hear. And remember, when someone tells you who they are or who someone else is, believe them the first time. The warning signs are always there. We just have to be willing to see them.